morning. Welcome to Makeup with Meesh, the show where you get ready with me in the morning before I go to work and get this off my face. Okay. So, big hair today. I washed my hair last night, and I generally sleep with my hair wet because I'm in a grow out phase. So I'm just trying to not put as much heat and stuff on it when I can avoid it, and it's just like I just had no need to dry it. So I just slept with it wet because it doesn't really bother me, and I have very, very thick hair, so it was still wet this morning when I woke up. But I just used the Dyson Airwrap. I got one this past weekend. Not the Airwrap, the Dyson blow dryer. And oh my God, it's amazing. It truly is. Like, it's expensive. It's very expensive. It's a $400 hair dryer, which sounds ridiculous even saying that out loud, but oh my God, it was amazing. And our other blow dryer was dying, and I'd wanted this thing for like over a year, and so we just justified it, and it's worth every penny. It's so good, and I don't even blow dry my hair that often. My husband uses it every day. It's worth it if you're on the fence, and it's not going to put you in a bad financial spot. Dyson hair dryer is legit. I highly recommend. All right, let's get this face started. We're gonna do some skin prep. I already rinsed my face off with just water. So now I'm going to just put on my morning moisturizer. And I'm still using the Road and Field moisturizer. However, there's very, very little in my jar. However, yesterday I was sitting in my office, and pretty sure I was trying to take a selfie or something, whatever, and I noticed that my makeup was just like looking really heavy and cakey, and I was like, I think I noticed on Zoom calls, I was like, I just look old. I don't know, it looks just like too much, and something's going on with my makeup, and I've been feeling like this the past few weeks. I don't know, I thought, I was like, okay, maybe it's like a primer or something I used, because like, it's this weird cakiness where it's getting oily in the T-zone and the cheeks, but then my pores are looking really big. I was putting on more powder to try to cover it, and I don't know, I got too deep, and I was caking on powder too much, and yesterday I just came to that realization when I was looking at myself in my Instagram selfie, and I realized something needed to change. So I put a little CTA out there to folks on the internet, and I have a zit underneath it hurts so bad right there. Put a little CTA out to friends on the internet and figured that there was a couple things going on with my makeup routine, but the baking of the under eye is just like way too much. I watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials and a couple of makeup artists that I follow on Instagram. I watched some of their highlights about it, and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm gonna try a couple of new techniques today to see if my makeup looks just like a little bit softer and can help work for me, not against me. Because yesterday and before, it was definitely working against me. Like, I mean, if I take I'm over 30. I know my skin's like, there's some imperfections. I've got pores, like that's a thing. We're gonna be working on that soon. But when I was putting my makeup on, I swear they were like tripling in size, or they were just so much more noticeable. So I was like, something's happening when I'm putting my makeup on that is making this look this way. So we are going to try to eliminate that. Okay, so first steps first, I'm going to do the Fenty Beauty eyeshadow primer. I don't put a ton of this on because it is essentially glue. It really holds your eyeshadow well. I also like the Urban Decay one, if any of you like those. So I'm gonna press that in and let that dry for a second. One of the suggestions yesterday was to stop using a primer. I am going to use a primer today only because I'm gonna focus on pulling out the fallout and some of the powder variables, and I wanna see if that helps fix it. And then this can help still keep my makeup in place. If that doesn't fix it, then I will pull out a primer. I have historically not used a primer except for when I get samples, but then I saw this one and it had really good reviews. And one of the reasons I added a primer in was just because I just thought it would be better for prepping the skin, and I was having those pore issues. So I was like, okay, let's see. I'm gonna use it today just so I don't pull out too many variables. If I still think it needs work after today, then I will pull out the primer. So let's see. I just used the NYX primer. I think in general I'm just having like some pore issues. I'm ordering some charcoal clay mask to help because I think that I need like a really good cleanse. And next week I'm getting a facial because I'm taking PTO. So I will be off work next week. Hopefully my kids will be in school. I really just want PTO where I don't do anything. Like, I want to get my facial. I want to like casually have lunch, make my way back home. I want to sit on the couch at 2 p.m. with a glass of wine watching Schitt's Creek or something. Like, I just want like kind of a week of nothing. Not a week of nothing. God, I want this cold to go away is what I want. More so, I guess, more so just the flexibility to do whatever I want in the week. That's really what I want, because there are some things that I want to get done. Like, there's a couple of house projects that sound so boring. Like, I honestly don't even want to say them out loud, because one of them is changing light bulbs. Like, literally, that's what I'm looking forward to doing, is changing light bulbs. But I have this list of things that have been piling up that I'm like, oh, I need to do those things. And it's stressing me out knowing that the list is getting longer. And I feel like a lot of it is stuff like, in my daughter's room, like I haven't hung the mirror in her room. And I know that that's like, you know, people are dying situation. Like I don't know if that's a thing to stress over, but just that with, you know, when it starts to pile up and it's like, in 3 years later, I never hung the mirror. I just want to get that stuff out of my head, because I will obsessively think about that for no reason at 11 p.m. at night while I'm trying to go to bed. So I've got plenty of PTO because we basically haven't been anywhere during COVID. We went to the beach as a family once, but you know, I've been either pregnant or in COVID for 3.5 years at this point. So we haven't really traveled, and I haven't had the need to use PTO. And so I had a bunch of it building up, and it was time to just use it on just some time at home. So that is what I'm doing. All right, so I am using the Tom Ford Traceless Matte Foundation. This stuff is liquid gold. And I honestly, yesterday, like my skin was looking so bad that I was questioning if I should even use this. I was like, is it the foundation? And I just haven't noticed over the past 6 months that I've been using this. But I know that's not the case. So I think it's a powder issue, I'm pretty sure. But I was questioning my beloved. So clearly I was in a bad place. All right, so I'm using the Traceless Matte Foundation by Tom Ford. And I'm using the shade Mocha to do more of a contour foundation. I am not a big fan of doing all over the face foundation because I just feel like once you do that, then you have to go back and contour on top of it. I mean, I still do contour on top of mine a little bit, but I would have to do much more. And I just think this gives kind of like a natural gradient underneath your makeup, and I like it more. I also combine it with the Fawn, which is probably the closest to my natural color. I use like literally a tiny bit. And I'll use that to kind of cut underneath the cheekbone contour and make it pop a little bit more, but like in a subtle way, a subtle pop. And it just helps blend in with your skin. This stuff like melts into your skin. It looks way more dramatic when you put it on, and then it truly becomes traceless. So I really love this. This right here is not going to cover, and you might be thinking, oh, is she broken out? What is that? No, that is like where I literally turned into Edward Scissorhands and attempted to dermaplane at home after a glass of wine, and I cut my face open, like just straight up sliced it. Here, here, and here. And so this is a week old. It's still healing. Hopefully by next week that will be gone and we won't have to deal with that because it is quite literally impossible to cover. I've tried everything. I've tried the Shape Tape. I've tried the concealers. Doesn't work. So we're just living with it. I think that's another reason I've been caking powder on to try and cover it, and it's like, it's just gonna shine through. Then I use the porcelain underneath the eye. This is very similar to the routine that I've been doing every day. And I was doing this before I noticed my massive pore problem. So I don't think that the Tom Ford is the culprit here. So I'm going to continue to do this today. I really think it's the baking and pressing the powders really heavily into this. And also like my finishing powder. So I'm going to go for more of a light setting powder. I'm going to do Laura Mercier's setting powder today, I think. I've been using Studio Fix by MAC. Like I already think that like I can see my pores, but it's definitely not that dry, cakey pore issue that I've been having. So we're gonna see. All right, so that's why I like to do the 3 gradient foundation when I apply it, because I feel like this sort of looks like natural skin to me. Like it kind of like, oh, she has a cheekbone, it's highlighted, like there's a little bit of pop here, but it doesn't look like I drew on with a contour and had to like really buff it out. I feel like if I just threw translucent powder over this and I was going for a light makeup look, I could just like go, you know? So I like that vibe. I watched an Instagram story. She was like, I'm being generous here. If you're over the age of 25, you do not need to bake. And I was like, here I am at 31. So what I'm doing right now is just very, very lightly applying Laura Mercier eye brightening powder underneath, just to help set it ever so slightly. Right under the eye. All right, that's it. That is all I'm doing. Here we go. Like this is very, very, this is crazy. For me, I typically look like the Abominable Snowman covered with powder right now. So I'm gonna do a neutral all over shade. Set that primer right here. Not too worried about being careful when I apply this because fallout doesn't really matter right now. It's like basically the same color as my skin tone. So if I was to try to blend shadows on top of that primer, it wouldn't be a good situation. Because I mean, you're essentially trying to rub over a very sticky surface. See, I got a couple of brush options here. I'm going to use this largest brush that I actually just used, and I'm going to use that for my more of a transition color. So I'm going to use this shade. I don't know what color that is. And I have been forgetting to tap my brush and get rid of excess. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come in here very lightly and blend into the creases with my windshield wiper, like circular motion, just to kind of blend that in. And you can tell it didn't add a ton of color, but it shaded nicely. And that's the whole point, because we want it to be really well blended. Alright. And so what this color is going to do is act as like the barrier between your darker shades for your crease and your upper like highlight on the top of your eye. And so when you add in the darker color in your crease, this shade will sort of serve as that gradient, so it looks more blended and seamless. And then when you need to really, really blend it out, you can use this brush to go back and buff in. Now, if we want to add in some darker color, I'm going to use the next size brush, which is this like medium. It's in between those 3 sizes, the middle of the 2. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to use this color right here to add a little bit of, so that's what I was using as my transition shade. So pretty like taupey neutral. And I'm going to use this kind of like camel color. All right, and I'm going to go in right here on the crease and use more of like a windshield wiper motion to blend that in. And then circles right here in the corner because I'm trying to blow out that edge a little bit more. I'm going a little slower than normal right now because I don't typically do all of these steps, but I'm really trying to figure out what's going on with my makeup lately. So I'm tapping my brush against my palette to get rid of excess so that the fallout doesn't fall onto my face. And also so that we're just not transferring so much pigment on that first swipe. We want to build the pigment with these motions right here, the windshield wiper motions, the circular motions, like all of that. That's what's going to help us build that pigment on our eye where it's blended and kind of pressed into the other colors. Otherwise, we're going to have more of a stark line, right? And I watched a tutorial yesterday, actually, where somebody was telling me to come in with my brush from the top, which completely makes sense in terms, because when you come at it from this angle, you're having like underneath, you're gonna have a really stark line. You can tell I already have that more so than I do anywhere else on the eye. So she recommended coming in from the north, and that would help blend right there. I totally agree, but the problem is for like 15 years now, I've been coming in from the bottom. So that's going to be like a hard thing for me to do. So I might go back and forth. Now that I added a little bit more of a darker shade on the crease, and that's really nicely blended, I'm going to come back in with a even darker color, this brown, well actually probably this brown right here. I'm going to tap that on the end of that brush and just do really, really small circles right here to smoke out this section. Just slightly. I mean a little bit in the corner there. To blend that out. So this is definitely more of a natural like look. You can already tell how that's gotten darker. Like more of a natural day. Like you could wear this every day. I mean, if I've been wearing the super dark shades that I've been wearing every day, then you can definitely wear this every day. All right, blend those in the corner. All right, and this is like a little bit. This is the same version of that tapered brush, but it's just a little bit more compact. So you can like target the color a little bit more because I'm kind of going for that like C right there, you know, you want to build out your C. All right, there we go. All right, so I went a little bit too far out on that side, but I can clean that up. We can work with that. That's better. That already looks way more blended. All right, and now I'm going to use a flatter brush like this to come back into the center. And I'm gonna do this shade right here for a little bit of fun shimmer on this Friday. Blend that out. So this is a pretty light color, so I started right in the corner, but if you want to really pack the color in, you probably want to start in the middle right there so it's most pigmented in the areas that you want it to be. All right. And I'm just doing like a really, really light. I mean, it's a Friday. I'm going to work. I'm going to take this really, really small tapered brush, and I'm going to go in with my darker color right here and go underneath the eye. And I do like, just for my face shape, I like to bring my eye up. So I'm going to pull this up kind of at an angle because I do tend to wing my eyeliner a little bit outside of my natural eyeline. I just think that shape looks better on me, but a little bit darker on that side. All right, and you can already tell, like, I don't have that much fallout. Like, typically it's like I'm drenched in fallout and I have to wipe away and then half the powder doesn't come off. So I'm like already impressed with this a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna kind of mix these two colors and then bring this in for a little bit of accent and blending. Right here on the top lid. There we go. All right. Okay. And then I'm going to clean it up. So I'm going to take my, where are you? This is one of my more favorite brushes. It's kind of like the tapered brush, but it's flat. And I typically use this for like my highlight and blending right here when I have more of that stark line. I'm gonna work on that, but I could also go back in with my really large brush that I used originally and just kind of do some circular motions here to blend in all those colors. That would also work. And then I can use more of this flat focused brush to find a good highlight that I like and really highlight closely underneath the bone. We don't want to do too much because we don't want like a stark line. We just want it like a, slight glimmer. I'm going to wipe away any fallout that I do see with this fan brush. And now we're going to do eyeliner. So typically for eyeliner, I do like a little bit of eyeliner right in the corner of the outer corner of my top lid. I don't do eyeliner everywhere. And then I'll take a small little angled brush like so, and I'll use one of the darker shades in my palette. So since I'm doing like all natural, neutral, truth or bare, that's the name of the palette, by the way. I'll take this and like maybe mix it with the darker color that I used so they're kind of blended. And then I will use that to cover over that small amount of eyeshadow, and I'll just kind of press this into it so it picks up the pigment and darkens it a little bit. And then it's got kind of a natural gradient as it falls inward to the eye. And then because I do like just that shape on my eye, I'll wing it out slightly like that. Okay, I'm already can tell that my eyeliner is way, way, way too dark, but let me get this side matching and then we'll figure out what we need to do. All right. That's typically the colors that I use nearly every day, but because I went so much lighter on my eyeshadow today, I'm thinking we need to just rethink that. All right, wipe that fallout away. Okay. Yeah, this is very raccoony that I'm getting from this. So let's see if we can add in a little bit of fun color underneath to brighten this up. So I'm going to use that same accent color that I used on top underneath my eye right here to try and brighten this up a little bit. I'm just using this very compact brush so I can like really control where I am putting it. Like so. And then, as always, your fingers are your best tools to blend that out. Okay, you can already tell that lightened up underneath a good bit. A little more on this side, probably. Just by blending those. All right, I'm gonna do my I'm going to do my brows down. So I already had to add that brow mascara in. It's been sitting for a minute. So I'm going to fill in the areas where the brows are a little patchy. You can tell it is time for a dye job. My brows are usually very, very blonde, and when I wait too many weeks between dyeing them, the patches are, ooh, look at that, that's rough. The patches are definitely more noticeable. All right, so I'm gonna blend on this side like I just did, just to make those match a little bit, because that pulled that color up a little higher. All right, blend this side. Oh, my fingers are dirty. I just feel like we're just rubbing eyeshadow all over my forehead. Great. All right. Okay, then I'm going to brush these babies out. I don't love my eyes. They typically look better than this. I think I came in too heavy right here with the shading and not heavy enough on the outside. So I'm gonna have to keep practicing there. I could go back in right now and add like just a little bit more here in the corners, like I'm used to. Just to help bring that eye up and out. But I can definitely tell I'm just gonna have to practice a little bit because this is, it just doesn't look as good as it usually does, you know? So we're gonna need to work on that. But not now. It takes practice, so it's It's just day one, guys. All right. I'm gonna go back and kind of wipe away any excess. That is dark to me though, but I'm just gonna try it. I just wanna see what this does to the pores. And to contour, I'm gonna use this tighter, more compact brush. It is a foundation brush, but I use it for contouring the darker colors and the lighter colors actually. And I barely tap my brushes into my palette to add color to this. I'm almost kind of like blending color that was like already on the brush. Because I'm using the Kat Von D palette, the Shade and Light palette, and it is super pigmented. All right, and then after I do kind of the standard 3 shapes, I'll go back in and highlight the areas that I want to stand out, or yes. So I'm trying to avoid as much on my cheeks right here to see if that really helps with the pores, if that's the problem. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. Contouring the nose slightly. I said slightly, but that's intense. I told you, I barely tap this palette and the color comes out strong, so. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the brush that I usually buff out my makeup with and buff out some of these harsh lines I just drew on my face. I'm gonna have to use my finger for that because that was aggressive. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna take my powder brush, and typically I use Studio Fix foundation powder, but today I'm gonna use some Laura Mercier powder to see if that helps with my insane cakiness and pore issue. So let's see. All right. Okay, and now that I've done that, I'm gonna go back in and seal my brows in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel. I really like this stuff. I thought brow gel was stupid up until like 6 months ago when I got this as a sample, and now I'm like, where's my brow gel? I don't know, I was just like, where are brows gonna go? They're not gonna just like run off your face. But this really does help them show up in such a more defined way. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do this right now, or if it's smart, because I just put that stuff on. But I was like missing a couple of hairs right there, needed to fill that in. What have I done? Mistakes were made. All right, this idea. Okay, that is better. And okay, so that is much lighter powder. I don't know. I have to go in like the light and see how I feel about the I wanted to actually use the NARS liquid blush today, but I think I'm gonna try it. So I'm doing a little dollop of NARS liquid blush. I'm just going to press this into the skin with my beauty blender. All right, I'm actually wondering if I should have done this before setting powder. I need to look that up. Maybe that's another reason. Okay, this to me operates similarly to foundation. Like, you put it on and the pigment's pretty heavy, but then even after you blend it with your blender or your sponge or something, like I still feel like the pigment's pretty strong, but then after like 30 seconds, it just kind of like melts into the skin, very similarly to the foundation I used earlier. All right, now we're gonna do a little bit of highlight and then wrap this look up because I gotta go to work and I still haven't done my hair. All right. Add a little bit of highlight on top of the cheekbones just so they pop. And I always do it. Is that your Cupid's bow? I always do it there and a little bit on my nose. Sometimes up here on my brow bone or above it. And then I've got a darker highlight color, contour type color with some shimmer. And sometimes I'll add just like a little bit of that underneath to help pop. I have a very round face, so, you know. And last but not least for powders, I'm gonna go in and make my neck match because my spray tan has completely come off. So I'm not the same color. All right, so. Blending that. All right, that looks better. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. The eye things turned me off a little bit. I don't know if it's just lighter than what I'm used to or what, but I think I just need to play with it too. I'm not like, it feels a little uneven, but I just need to play with it a little bit more. All right. Okay, now it is time to add mascara, and then I will do a fun little lip. All right. So if you were with me yesterday, you already know what this mascara is. This is the Maybelline. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. Got super popular on TikTok and very reasonable price point at like $8. And there are a couple of other mascaras that I am excited to try, but I just opened this too and I don't want it to go to waste because this is a really solid mascara. So I'm using it every day. This is actually probably one of my favorites, like, if not the favorite. I have used higher end brands. I've used Milk, I've used Hourglass, Better Than Sex, Dior, all of them. And I think this one holds its own. I'd say the closest thing to this one is, actually, to me, this one is like if Milk Kush mascara, the silver, oh, I have some here. If this mascara and Better Than Sex had a baby, it would be this mascara, which to me is kind of like the perfect mascara, which is why I use this one every day. It all makes sense. But I am very excited. Oh, actually, I mentioned this on stream yesterday. The Ilia mascara, right here. Ilia. Easy on the eyes. That mascara just came in yesterday with my Sephora order, and that will be the next one that I try. It's a clean beauty item at Sephora, and I have heard great things about it. It's another award-winning mascara. So I want to see how it holds up to this one. But I gotta be honest, I'll definitely keep trying other mascaras, but right now this is the one I'm gonna keep going back to. And I mean, $8, you can't beat that. Like, all the Sephora mascaras are between $28 and like $36, unless you go for the super high brand names. Then they're even more, and that's insane. This one works just as good. Don't waste your money. Okay. Oops. All right, got a little bit of extra there. So I can already tell with my makeup, like, it doesn't look as heavy. I still see a lot of the pore issues that were bothering me yesterday. Here's the thing. When I use the Studio Fix MAC product, this right here, this is like one of my favorite things. When I use this, my skin is literally flawless. Like, it covers so well that it looks perfect. Like, you can't even see a pore. But then, you know, about an hour later, as it's melted into your skin, your pores are 7 times larger. I don't know that it's that. I don't know that it's like 100% that. It could be the fallout thing. I'm gonna, probably tomorrow, I'm gonna try to use that foundation, I'm sorry, that powder, and see if it still happens. and then compare it to today without having used it at all. But I'm going to try that and see if it still happens, because there's a good chance, like I'm pretty convinced too that it's the fallout powder, because I've been using like the very talky fallout powder to prevent fallout, and it's been baking for 30 minutes while I do my eyeshadow, and from what I learned on Instagram yesterday, like that is not a good thing, particularly for women over the age of 25. So I'm thinking that that's it. But I don't know, we'll see. I need a couple hours for it to melt and see. All right, so I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to use my powder brush. Clean up my lips a little bit right there. So this will go on and not melt. All right. Okay, this needs to be sharpened. These are just my favorite lip liners. These to me are very similar to the Kylie Cosmetics lip liners. I would dare say that the Kylie Cosmetic ones don't melt as much. These don't typically melt if your lips are dry, like, or if they've been, like if you've put your powder around your lips or something really well. I've noticed the Charlotte Tilbury ones, like, if you're oily at all, I feel like they will melt into your, look how gross this lipstick is. I need a new one. This is the KW by Charlotte Tilbury. And it is smashed to pieces because I have a 1 and a 4-year-old who got a hold of it. But I still really like the color. It's a very nude neutral. Kind of washes me out before I put a lip gloss over it. So I never wear this just like that. It just doesn't work for me, but I like it as a nude neutral to go under a lip gloss if you want the lip gloss to be the star of the show. So this is the Dior Lip Maximizer. It's got hyaluronic acid in it. So supposedly it's beautifying and healing your lips as it is making them shiny. And holy shit, this is shiny, and I like it. Okay. So it's a lip plumper. I don't know if that's just because it's like reflecting and it makes your lips look bigger. I don't feel much of a tingle like some of those lip plumping lip glosses do. But the shine is insane. I bought this because I saw an Instagram story of a random girl and was like, why are your lips so shiny, girl? And she said that, so I bought it. And I do really like it. So shiny. And it goes on very clear. It comes in a bunch of different shades. I got the 001 pink, which is basically, like, it looks pink in here, but as you could tell, it's very, very sheer, maybe a pink tint. But definitely not color. I still wear a lipstick under it for when it comes off. It doesn't look like I just have very 90s style lip liner. All right, I can already tell this eye is like not as dark as this one. We'll work on it. We will work on it. All right, so I think that is pretty much it for today. I am now going to go, to work. I do need to curl my hair, but we don't really have time for that today. So I'm just gonna like go with the, tousled beach wave look. It's not even a beach wave. I'm just gonna go with the tousled bedhead look. It is what it is. But this was a fun trial attempt at controlling fallout. Let's see how this works on my pores. If you want to find out, follow me on Instagram at MeeshAmerica, and I will post an update in a couple of hours how my skin is looking. So, all right. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you back here on Monday morning where I will get better at this eye situation.